We're joined by the head coach of the New York Football Giants, Joe Judge. And, Coach, obviously this has been a very unique offseason. Just explain to the fans how the virtual learning has gone and how you feel that your players have picked up on it.
First of all, I'm very encouraged with the way our players worked this spring. I'm very encouraged how the staff was able to adjust on the fly and really adapt to the circumstances. Our focus wasn't on what we were missing. Our focus was on what we had available to us to use. We really put the focus on accomplishing everything we would in a normal spring without being able to go on the field together. And I'd say as we left that, I believe we accomplished that. We got our systems installed. We're able to build on the offense, defense, special teams. We got a lot of team building accomplished as well. We were able to build in some competitive aspects of our program. That's all been very positive.
What were some of the things that you were able to do to make it fun and team building? Because, a lot of times on the last day of OTAs or somewhere mixed in there, a coach will say, nothing today, we're going on a field trip. And buses will pull up, and the next thing you know, the Giants are at Yankee Stadium or Citi Field watching a baseball game. Obviously, you didn't have the luxury of doing that kind of stuff. How have you done it virtually?
You know what? We kind of took some lessons from, really watching my kids do virtual school and some input we got from guys around the country and what they were doing in different colleges and different pro programs. But, I was watching my kids use the Kahoot app, and we found out a couple of colleges were using the same thing, and really started through player development and went across the offense and defense as well in terms of, having some daily competitions and weekly competitions. We subdivided the teams into different groups and made it competitive, played for some prizes, and we're able to ask questions about, things related to getting to know your teammate or getting to know the area, organizational history, or maybe something directly tied into offense or defense. But, it was fun. It changes up a little bit. It gets guys interacting. When you first start the meetings, everyone would come in with the muted screen the first couple of weeks. It was very quiet. And then over time, they got more comfortable. And really the best part of the day was you'd click on a few minutes before the meeting start, and you hear the players cutting up on each other and kind of calling out who needs a haircut and, who's been doing what. And that was really the best time of hearing the guys interacting like they would in a locker room. So we wanted to let that grow as organically as we could throughout the spring.
And it seems like some of the guys have taken it, on their own time, gathering with teammates and kind of doing things virtually. So I guess mission accomplished for you as a head coach that guys have taken it and not just done it during the prescribed meeting time or the voluntary stuff, but they've kind of gone on their own and sort of expanded upon what you're preaching as far as team.
What I'd say the biggest challenge we went into really wondering how we were going to get accomplished was the team building aspect of it. And I think our players, just being resourceful as they are, and the coaches, that we were able to really break down a lot of the virtual walls that we felt were in between us at first. And we were able to adjust on the fly and really get a good feel for each other. And I'll tell you what, going into training camp, we're not going to have strangers walking through the hallway. We know each other as coaches and players. We know each other as a team. So when we get together in training camp, we can focus on getting the football moving, and we're not trying to make introductions as far as being a new rookie or a new free agent or a new coach to the staff. We can move forward.
All right, Coach, obviously these are very unique times we're living in, and obviously we're doing this interview right now, not in the Quest Diagnostics Training Center, but virtually due to COVID-19. Obviously, what's transpired over the last couple of weeks as far as social initiatives has become a very important component of what teams are doing. Talk a little bit about what you've decided to do in conjunction with your players to kind of move the messaging forward and to turn things into a positive.
Well, first off, it starts with listening. And it started early on with us having conversations. It was very important for myself. The owners were very involved, the other coaches and players, to just listen. And we wanted to just open up the format for our players to share some of their experiences and some of their point of views. And, we're trying to just better our understanding. And we don't have all the answers, and we don't have all the same perspectives. And we have to do our part as a team to just listen to each other. And we have to be a team that's open to communication. We have to be a team that can have tough conversations and that can understand the individuals that make up the collective team itself. But through the conversations, that's really just been a starting point for us. And those conversations will continue as the season goes on, as training camp comes. But really what's come out of it with our players is, really wanting to take the energy and the emotion of today and turn that into action that can make a difference, and really a specific, sustained difference. And our players at the moment are, they've identified societal issues that they feel to be important, that they want to be involved with. As an organization, we're connecting our players to local organizations in the New York and New Jersey area they can be connected and start taking action and being involved with our communities, which is something that's very important to us as an organization, that wherever you grew up, we're all New Yorkers now. And we want to be a team that's a positive example, okay, of how we can all work together and make a difference. Look, you've got 90 players right now. You've got over 20 coaches. None of us have the same experiences. None of us have the same background. But we can work together towards a collective goal on the field. We all know what that is. But we have to work together off the field as well towards a collective goal of really making things improve for everyone across the board. And we have a platform that we have to use to be active in our communities and make a difference.
Yeah, I know in the Mara and Tisch tradition, reaching out to the New York metropolitan area is very important. And that is something that you've talked about since you were named the head coach of the Giants. As far as this entire region, you want this football team to reflect this region in the positive aspects of things. Just talk about, as you've worked with the players now virtually, and as we're getting closer to training camp and facilities starting to reopen and eventually, getting players back on the field, what's the key criteria that you're looking for in these players when they hit the field and hit the ground running? You know what?
We want to be a smart, tough, fundamentally sound football team. I've been saying that, and you're going to hear me say it for a long time. And those are, collective criteria. At the same time, we've got to be a tough team. You talk about tying us to the region. There's physical toughness and there's mental toughness. I think this area has demonstrated that continuously throughout time, but specifically in the immediate months that we've just gone through. There's been a lot of physical toughness going through the COVID, a lot of mental toughness going through the societal issues we're dealing with right now, as well as a lot of the COVID with people being out of work and going day by day. And we have to be a team that reflects that same work ethic and resilience when we get on the field. What I'm expecting from our team when we get back is to show up every day and to work hard and to make decisions that affect the team in a positive way.
Obviously, a lot of safety protocols have been put in place, not only at the Quest Diagnostics Training Center, but across the National Football League as far as guidelines that the teams have to follow. Just talk about your involvement in that, in working with the medical staff, working with the people in the building, as far as making sure that everything is sort of the way you need it to be in order to get the work that you need to get done, and make sure that everybody stays safe.
Well, I'd say first off, from just a football team perspective and standpoint, there's nothing more important to us than the health of our players. That's number one. So whatever protocols are put in place by our medical team and by the league, we're going to adhere to and make sure that we keep consistent with for the safety of our players. We'll wait for some further guidelines to come out from the league in terms of what we have to adjust within how we meet and practice. But really right now it's all about communication. And again, like we've done all spring, just be ready to adapt, all right, make the adjustments necessary.
Coach, final question. Normally at this point in time, and this is not unique to you, all 32 teams are facing this, but you've had the guys on the field normally. You've gotten a sense of where you are as you're getting ready to take a little break before camp. And you're also sort of consulting with the front office as far as, hey, we might be a little bit thin here. Some of these guys we're not getting out of it, or maybe we need to do this, that, make a move one way or another. Nobody's been able to do that. Is this where communication with Dave Gettleman and his staff are going to be so important, that when you finally do get on the field and you get to see the players actually in action, being able to react quickly to moves that may or may not have to happen in real time, because the clock will be ticking pretty quickly toward the start of the season?
Yeah, the communication across the board from the coaches and the personnel department is key at all times, especially through training camp. You're trying to evaluate your team and make the necessary moves. There's a lot of moves that happen through training camp, not on our own roster, but throughout the other 31 teams. And you have to be conscious of, what's going on in the other teams and how that may affect your team as well. There's a health element to it. It's just a natural attrition as you go through a football season. You're going to have some injuries. We have to be, know who's out there and available. We have to build our own depth on our own roster to make sure that we can account for whatever positions we have to address. But I want to make sure that, we give the players time to compete on the field through training camp and demonstrate what they're able to do. I don't want to make too many snap decisions. I want to make sure that we give the players time that we haven't been able to see in the spring, and get them out there and compete and let the pieces fall where they may. I think we have to keep in mind as well that there's still going to be an element of not having a spring we have to put the players in the right position from a health standpoint, that while we're installing, while we're building in the scheme, we give them a chance to learn what to do and start practicing executing on grass. And then we have to turn up the volume and turn up the heat a little bit on these guys and, let them go out there with what they've learned and compete at a pace that we know that they can demonstrate if they deserve to be on the final roster.
Coach, we appreciate a couple minutes. Enjoy whatever downtime you may or may not have. It feels like it's all a little bit of a blur with everything being done virtually, but we appreciate a couple minutes, and hopefully we'll see you in the building sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, man. Hey, listen, have a good summer. Hope to see you soon.
All right, Coach. We'll see you during training camp.
Bye.